Hello, my name is John Longcroft Neal, and this is a video about an ebook that I've written called Name That Place. This is what it looks like. You can buy it from Amazon, $5 or £3.17 or whatever currency for whatever country you're in. It's all been converted down. It's a book about place names in Britain, but I've made them all up. None of them are true. None of them are true. They're all fictitious. And if any happen to coincide with any names of people that do live there, it's purely coincidental. I'll give you a little sample. Akronton Stanley. Now, Akronton Stanley is a place in North England, and this is the story, as far as I'm concerned, as how it got its name. In 1870, Stanley Akronton invented the retractable craft knife with snap-off blades. Unfortunately, he didn't invent the replaceable blades, and even though the knife was very successful and much sought after by his friends and neighbours, when the blade was used up, he was left with a useless, bladeless knife body. He went the way of many a genius and drank himself into a stupor. His son, Akronton Stanley Jr., took up the cause, and before he was 21, he invented the junior hacksaw. Later on, he also reinvented the snap-off blade and yellow plastic, so he founded the great knife and small tool empire that the Western world was to know and love. His hometown was more than willing to take up the name. At the opening ceremony, Lady Frothelwhittle cut the official ribbon with a pair of scissors. A pair of scissors. No sense of occasion, some people. Ambleside. Ambleside is a small town on the shores of Lake Windermere in the Lake District. Beautiful place, and there is there a tradition of fell running. This is running over the hills up to the tops and racing over the whole lot. Very, very, very difficult and demanding race. Anyway, this is the story of how Ambleside got its name. Ambleside. Fell running is an odd sport at the best of times, but at its inception in 1806, its popularity was just developing. The new sport routed through the town, but the locals were not keen to see all these sweaty Herberts charging through the streets en route to the next fell. So the first speed limit for pedestrians was created by the water's edge, and the runners were forced to amble. So Ambleside was christened, and the chair of the parish council was made High Lord Bishop of the local lodge for his sterling work. He later died of cucumber poisoning. Bath, or if you live in the south, Bath, but I don't. Bath. Queen Mary described people from here as soap dodgers. She wasn't the only prominent figure to cast aspersions upon the cleanliness, or lack of it, abounding among the local folk. Edward VII provided the area with a giant communal bathtub, paid for by the residents of sweet-smelling Bristol, and refused food to anyone who refused to go in it. A certain Bobby Stinky held out to the end and never got himself dunked, scrubbed or wetted. His discarded socks were later used by the army as the first chemical weapons with great effect over the Spanish, but not the French, who were accustomed to the stench from their association with brie and other similar cheeses. Nowadays, of course, the good people of Bath are amazingly clean and fragrant. I love them. Belfast. The bell ringers of both cathedrals in this Ulster city engaged in a competition to see who could ring for the morning service the quickest. There was nothing sectarian about it. It was pure sport, and the individuals involved sought to bring their establishment the title of Fast Bells. As it turned out, the honours were taken by a local landlady sounding for breakfast, and so she landed the Belfast trophy, much to the disgrace of the city's ecclesiastic institutions. But then it must be noted that her guests were very hungry. Bolton. Football originated here, and so came the legend of a ball town. Locals were upset at seeing their beloved game hijacked and by all sorts, and so set up their own rules and their own code known as cheat ball. The point in this thespian sport was to allow yourself to be tackled and then writhe around in agony as though your leg had been hacked off. Simulating injury became a big thing, and soon defenders were tapped on the back and they were dropping as if hit by a sniper. The sport died out but resurfaced, ironically, at the 1986 World Cup and has been with us ever since. Mind you, synchronised diving in the penalty area gave way to solo performances only. Jewsbury. In the 1800s, the funeral accommodation of various religious groups was not good, especially in the north of England. However, one firm decided to put this right and offered a sympathetic service to all faiths. They started with Hindus but ran into trouble with fire regulations and the funeral pyres. Undeterred, they looked at Jewish burial practices. They finally cornered the market, and Jewsbury became the town's name when followers of Judaism came here as a matter of preference. An interesting offshoot was the development of kosher wakes, where all the food for the gathering after the funeral was acceptable to even the most traditional Jews. However, wakes are us really only flourished in this part of Yorkshire for a few years, as all the pork and bacon farmers went out of business. Well, there we are. There's a short extract from my book, Name That Place, an e-book from Amazon. Details in the notes with the video. The book has got about 32,000 words to it and possibly 200 plus entries of all different names. So I hope you enjoyed and I hope you buy it. Thanks for listening, and see you again next time. Bye bye.